In this video, we're leaving the Kgalagadi and drive all the way up to the Okavango Delta, one of the world's largest ecosystems and home to incredible wildlife. We explore this area from the ground, from the water, and from the air. Welcome to part 5 of the South Africa series.
Oh, it is cold. I mean, I got ice on my tent, but anyway, it's time to get up. Ananda is still sleeping in the car. Where is it? Here. But yeah, it's time to get up, and then today we have a long drive ahead. Driving up to, or we are already in Botswana, but more north in Botswana. Now we have 2 days ahead of driving until we should arrive in Maun. And then the next destination hopefully is Okavango Delta. So let's see, but we still have this morning here in Kgalagadi, so fingers crossed that we can find something before sunrise to hopefully get it in the nice light. But if it is that cold, I don't think that there is any animal walking around.
Warte, man sieht es noch nicht. Er ist noch ein bisschen näher gekommen. Und es ist wirklich noch mal kälter wie gestern.
Es ist noch mal kälter wie gestern?
Ja.
Es geht nicht mehr kälter wie gestern. Gestern war es 0. Weniger wie gar nichts geht nicht.
Wir sind im Minus gelandet.
Geht jetzt noch mit.
Du machst auch das ganze Video. Also verkältest du dich jetzt nicht gerade.
Boah. Okay, jetzt ist klar.
Even the water is frozen.
Ice block. Something is not good. -degrees in the morning.
After 6 days in Kgalagadi Transfrontier Park, it was time to leave this fantastic place. We had a great time and collected several memories in this week. However, there was no time to dwell in memories. The next adventures were already waiting for us.
No. There's a car coming, and the roads are so amazing. It's like driving through deep snow. Immer filmen, wenn mir irgendetwas verrückt ist. Aber es zieht alles hier. Also das Auge gewöhnt sich an, dass alles so rausgeht. Und wenn man dann still steht, dann macht alles so voll crazy.
The next 2 days were mainly driving to make it to Maun. Luckily, Ananda managed a long drives and we arrived in Maun on time. On the first morning, we had a very special plan. We went to the airport where this helicopter was already waiting for us. After this breathtaking view from the air, it was time to explore the Okavango Delta from the ground. For the first night, we had a camp just outside the national park. The fantastic thing about this camp was that it was next to a small pond, which was frequently visited by elephants.
Hey, we made it to the first camp here in Okavango. So it's a small, nice hut over there, which we will stay in for the first night before we will go into the delta. So we're now just 1 hour before the gate. But now I can't wait to experience the last week of this trip before it's time for me to go home. We'll make the best out of it, and I'm sure there's some really nice surprises waiting for us in this last week. And so yeah, stay tuned. It's the first morning in Okavango Delta, and we have two lions roaring not too far away, and hopefully they will come to the waterhole. Oh, now just an elephant is coming in. Awesome. First elephant of the day. We had a lot of elephants yesterday in the evening. We also tried some remote photography at the waterhole. Didn't work too well, but we got one shot which is quite awesome, with 3 elephants standing at the water and the moon in the background. But it was a short night, few hours of sleep. Yeah, and we also had a honey badger who came to our camp and was searching for food next to our car. It was quite awesome to see him from such a short distance. It's time to grab the camera and see what happens.
After one night at this camp, it was time to enter the national park. Not too long after entering the national park, we found some fresh lion tracks. We followed their direction, and after some time we came across some zebras. But they weren't alone, and we witnessed a fantastic moment with a lion family being harassed by some giraffes and zebras. On that first day, I was so overwhelmed that I completely forgot to film any behind the scenes. We saw so many new animals in such a short time. The next morning, we came across 3 lions before sunrise, and we spent some moments with them in the first light of the day. In the evening of the second day, we went to a new camp next to a river. After some struggles, we arrived at this idyllic place, which was our home for the next 2 nights. During the next days, we spent most of the time on the water. Together with Doctor, who was our local guide, we explored the small river, which was home to several hippos and elephants. During our time in the Okavango Delta, it was winter, which is also the dry season. Despite being in the Kalahari area, there's a lot of water. The reason for this is that when it rains in the mountains of Angola, the river flows into the plain, where the water spreads out and drains. This is why there is so much water in the Okavango Delta, and with the water, all the wildlife follows into this area. With these last days on the water, our trip through South Africa and Botswana was slowly coming to an end. The last more than 3 weeks were one big adventure. Seeing Africa's wildlife for the first time was a boy dream coming true, and our time was filled with beautiful moments. We met so many great people. I learned about Africa's culture and nature, and the challenging situations we faced made the experience even more remarkable. I remember during those last days feeling partly happy to go home, where I would finally see my family and friends again. However, another part of me wished I could have stayed in Africa for some more adventures. But this is not the end. During the last 2 days in the Delta, I had one of my most intense wildlife encounters. More about this in the next and final part of the South Africa series. Thank you for watching this video. If you want to make sure you don't miss the last part, subscribe to my channel. Thanks and goodbye.